This podcast is a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to find out more. This episode of 20th Century Boy is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Head to manscaped.com and enter the code RadioMike for 20% off your next purchase with free worldwide shipping. That's code RadioMike with no spaces at manscaped.com for 20% off your next order.
Show me a move. Good news, everyone.
Welcome to 20th Century Boy. My name is... really just don't have one. Sorry, guys. Stop the music. Sorry, guys. I've let you down. I simply don't have one. In previous instances, like the current instance, I've improvised one on the spot, but you know what's happened is my mind's pulled a blank, and I'd like to apologize on behalf of myself and on behalf of the podcast. My mind has gone completely blank, and I have absolutely, and I mean this, absolutely no idea what I can do for a name on this episode of the show. My name is Radio Mike. There you go. Long-time listeners of the show, you will know that every week I try to do a different name. This week I've just absolutely failed, and again, I apologize. Last week, however, I did Radio Bike. And welcome to the radio family, Radio B, who's commented on the YouTube version of the podcast. Radio Bike was such a good one. Might be the best yet. And, you know, perhaps I've made the fatal error of doing my best alternative name for Mike yet with Radio Bike, that I've actually, it's prevented me from ever doing any even remotely better. But I will try next week to have one better. But my name is Radio Mike. Welcome to 20th Century Boy, a podcast about me, Radio Mike, a young writer and producer from here in Melbourne, Australia, trying to make his way through the rough and tumble of living life. Sometimes it's easier than other times. At the moment, it's pretty easy. Look, it's a Sunday today that I'm recording this, which is unusual for me. I like my weekends, and it's a sunny day outside. It's very nice. I'd love to be out there, but I do have some news that kind of affects the podcast for the next couple of weeks that I'd like to tell you. But generally speaking, welcome to the podcast. So here is some news about me. It's not gonna, the podcast will still be coming out till the end of the year, and I have worked out that I think the last podcast of the year, the last 20th Century Boy of the year will be, I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday, the 22nd of December. For that episode, the season finale of season 3, producer Pat, who works on the show with me, I think will come in and be on the episode as well, and we will try to finalize the year. From there, there will be, every year of this podcast, there's been a Christmas special. So there will be a completely improvised comedy Christmas special on the 24th of December that will feature some Christmas carols. So look forward to that as well. That's going to be something exciting. So I think we have 4 more episodes for the year, plus the Christmas special, which is very exciting. And then we'll be back sometime in the probably the second week of January, we will be back. Season 3 has been really big, and I think we might end up with more episodes than any other season before in season 3, which is also very cool. So thank you so much, guys. The one main bit of news I have is that, so I'm a freelancer, and I guess I'll start off by saying patreon.com/RadioMike. As little as $1 a month. Thank you to everyone who's jumping on board. We're nearly at 50 patrons. I will do something very special. I'll do a full-on live Q&A for patrons and for everyone at 50 patrons. So jump on patreon.com/RadioMike. Little as $1 a month. You get bonus podcasts. As well as that, I have announced the title and displayed the artwork of the second book of the Harry Potter and the Boys franchise. My Harry Potter fanfiction podcast. That is available for patrons only. More news on that soon. But basically, so please support the show. Patreon.com, paypal.me/itsradiomike for a one-off donation as well. Really appreciate everyone who's done so. I'm a freelancer. All my work is freelance, and essentially, often for me, December and January are very quiet months. Well, for a lot of people, but yeah, December and January, very quiet months. The rest of the year, I do pretty well. So what has happened is, and this is pretty exciting for me, a little opportunity has come up for me to, and I can't talk too much about it, but I will be essentially a researcher and producer on a television series, an Australian television show that will air in 2022. I will give you more information on that when I can talk about it. But basically, for the entirety of December, I'll be pretty much working full time on that TV show, which is really cool. I'm very excited about it. I'll be in office. I'll be doing bunch of creative writing and creative ideas, comedy kind of stuff, which is great. And I'm super excited for it. It's great pay. And of course, December would have been a month where I'd make almost no money and I'd be relying on the Patreon to pay my bills and stuff. But yeah, I thought I'd take it. Like, I obviously wanted to take it. It's a great career move. It's something I'm really interested in. And, yeah, I'm going to be doing that. So how does that affect the podcast? So I'll be working full-time Monday to Friday. So generally I record this podcast on a Monday or Tuesday and it comes out on a Wednesday. And that's cool. But because I'm going to be doing that, I'm now going to be recording the podcast on Sundays to come out on Wednesdays still, but I'm going to have to, work 6 days a week. So I'm going to work on the Sunday. And I'm going to be a little bit more time poor. I'm going to do my best with Harry Potter and the Boys Season 2, but this is the main thing that will continue to come out. I won't miss an episode in December. But please understand, just because of time constraints, I would really love in this period for anyone who has never contributed to the show before, but likes the show and would like to get in touch with the show. Any questions, any news stories you think are funny, anything you'd like to hear my opinion on over the next 3 weeks, it would really help with content creation because I'm going to be working full time. I'm just going to have a little bit less time to be thinking about content, which I apologize for. Of course, this podcast is something I love, but at the same time, I also need to balance making money, hence why I plug the Patreon at the start of every podcast and the end of every podcast and all over all of my podcasts, as well as the merch. There's t-shirts, radiomike.com.au/merch. Any money, if you like the podcast, any money you can give genuinely really helps and supports me. So yeah, I've taken this on. That's going to help me pay all my bills over Christmas and pay for all Christmas presents for my family and do all that stuff. Keep me afloat. Keep me in the red. I think it's the black. The black's the good. Yeah, so it's going to keep me good. But yeah, if you can contribute to the show and you want to support it, please do. And I'll see, I've got a bunch of ideas floating for 2022, but yeah, that's basically the next couple weeks of the show. And I hope you all, I hope you understand and that's cool. But yeah, I would love to get a bunch of people that I've never heard from reaching out to me this week. Don't be scared. RadioMikePod@gmail.com or the contact form at radiomike.com.au or just my Instagram or just any way you can get in touch with me. If you walk past me on the street, just go, Mike, talk about cyclists, and I'll do it, right? Don't even say hi, just shout it out. I'd love that. That'll really help over the next few weeks. As well as that, I did say the podcast might be a bit shorter, but I think we'll still get them to time. I've got heaps of stuff today and we're already 10 minutes in. But yeah, super excited that these kind of opportunities are coming up for me and I'm kind of getting, in the zeitgeist and in like just through being around, people are like, oh, get Mike to do it. He'll be good. He's got a good mind. He's got a comedy mind. He'll be able to help on this show or, getting radio opportunities to do spots. And it's like, it's cool that people are noticing my work and being like, oh, he's good. Let's get him. So I really like that. But yeah, get in touch. Do exactly what Radio Joshua 2010 did. And welcome to the radio family, Joshua 2010. Got in touch via the contact form at radiomike.com.au. Hey, Mike, love the podcast. I was wondering if I could get a Discord link to join the server. Cheers. Get fucked. Love you. Which are the two sign-offs of the show. You can do one or the other, or both, as Josh has done both. Everyone is welcome in the Discord, Patreon or not. Just hit me up for a link and I will send it to you. The Discord is a great community. Lots of fun chats. There's like a movie channel where we talk movies, gaming channel where people talk games, music channel where people recommend cool music, and just general discussion about this show. It's really cool. So definitely jump in there. But let's get into it. We usually start the podcast with the trivia question of the week. I still don't have an opener for this, but here we are. Oh, before we get into that, I should just say my stuff on 3AW on Wednesdays at 2:30 will continue. I'm still doing that. And as well as that, Mike Talks might be on hold, but I do have one lined up with Luke Kidgel. A few years ago on Luke Kidgel's podcast, we talked for about 2 hours about our favorite pop punk and punk rock music. So we're going to do a part 2 as a Mike Talk. So look forward to that. That should be coming out. But yeah, let's do the trivia question of the week. Last week, the trivia question of the week was which infamous sitcom character, I don't have the question in front of me, so I'm just remembering it, said the phrase, "You should have seen her face. It was the exact same look my father gave me when I told him I wanted to be a ventriloquist." Which famous sitcom character said that hilarious line? A few answers came in. All of them correct, but of course, and you can get involved anytime, 1-800-438-353, the podcast hotline.
If you've got a contribution to the podcast, there's only one number you see. Go 1-800-438-353.
And obviously it's the first person correct. Call the number for anything, by the way, not just trivia question of the week. Feel free to leave a message there. Look, the first correct answer did come from Radio Shooter. Long-time controversial figure on this show. If you were a long-time listener, you know that Shooter has consistently trolled this podcast, particularly just mentioning the children's film Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium over and over again on almost every episode of the show for a period of time until he decided to stop. But we are now friends again, me and Radio Shooter. And also an update on that. Okay, I'm gonna commit to it. This week I'm going to watch Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium, and next week I will talk about it on the show. Here's Shooter's answer.
Mikey, Shooter here, mate. Happy 25th birthday.
Thank you.
Just answering the trivia question of the week.
Great.
And the correct answer is Seinfeld from the episode The Cafe. It's George Costanza who says it when Elaine scores 85 on the IQ test. Cheers, mate.
That is correct. It is George Costanza from Seinfeld that said that line. I do want to just play one from another listener who I think a lot of people think you can't call the number from overseas, but there are various people overseas who are calling the number. There is a way to do it. Figure out how, because I don't. But this person, and I've forgotten your name, but you've called in from the USA, and I loved getting this voicemail with this fantastic American accent.
Radio Mike. Radio Dude here.
Radio
Finally
Dude.
figured out how to call from America.
Nice.
I've got the answer to this week's trivia question. It's George Can't Stand Ya Costanza from Seinfeld, which I'm actually binging on Netflix right now. Thanks for all that you do, and get fucked.
Yeah, correct as well, Radio Dude. Thank you for calling in all the way from America. That is very cool. So both of you are going to take the points home this week. Very good stuff. Here is the clip from the hilarious episode, as Radio Shooter said, The Cafe. Probably my favorite episode of Seinfeld. Have a listen.
No, there's gotta be a mistake.
You should have seen her face. It was the exact same look my father gave me when I told him I wanted to be a ventriloquist.
I think what's so funny about this line, and if you've seen Seinfeld, you get it. It's just, knowing George as a character, the absurdity and the idea of him being a kid and saying to his dad, I want to be a ventriloquist, is a hilarious thought. But this episode, and the trivia question of the week, I do it, one, to get you guys to call in and get some voices on the show, which we love, but also because I always end up getting a bit carried away and having to talk about the trivia a bit. The cafe episode of Seinfeld, up there with one of my favorites, as I said. The Chinese restaurant and the parking garage are also great ones, but I love the cafe, which is about a Pakistani man named Babu Bhatt who owns a cafe in New York called the Dream Cafe, which Jerry becomes obsessed with. And the B story is that George is dating a girl who wants him to take an IQ test. And there are so many hilarious moments in this episode, including a great moment where Kramer insists that the phrase statute of limitations is statue of limitations. Great episode. Seinfeld is all on Netflix, so definitely go and watch that episode. Very funny. This week's trivia question of the week, and I think this is a tougher one, depending on how much you're into the pop culture I'm into. I don't know how many people will get this, but you can definitely take a guess, which is encouraged. 1-800-438-353. This is the trivia question of the week. In the TV series South Park, one of my favourite series of all time, FYI, and I will be talking about it a little bit at the end of this episode, which is kind of why I decided to do the trivia question on it. In the TV series South Park, one of the 4 main boys, Kenny, is rarely seen without an orange parka which muffles his speech. In the rare moments in which the character's face is seen uncovered by the parka, what color is Kenny's hair? I realize that now I'm looking at this question now being like, that was such a terribly phrased question. Essentially, the question is, what color is Kenny from South Park's hair? And unless you're, well, there are a number of points, and I might talk about them next week, in which Kenny is seen without the parka and is also heard talking with his normal voice, but they're very rare. So unless you're a big fan and have seen every episode, you may not know the color of his hair, but, everyone have a guess, or if you know, write in. We're going to go straight into a segment that for a while we thought we were never going to do on the show again, but now we're apparently doing it because it's this.
Radio Mike's Rhyme Crime.
Again, Rhyme Crime is a segment where we persecute terrible rhymes in songs. We have had many over the years, and I realize one of the worst rhyme crimes we've had was the Guy Sebastian song. It came up on shuffle the other day in the car, and I remembered that this was a huge rhyme crime, which is the song Choir by Guy Sebastian. And it features the rhyme crime, something, 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 say we'll catch up next week, and then it gets to next week, and we say maybe next week. And that is a rhyme crime. It's not repetition. It is a rhyme crime. Look, I've been sent another rhyme crime by Radio Tim, one of our Patreons. So thank you, Tim, for your contribution. He's sent in a rhyme crime that I think is interesting. And the thing about rhyme crimes is that they're not always, the lead singles. They're not always the big songs. And that makes sense, right? Because, if you're an artist, you're trying to slip your rhyme crimes in, but probably not in the lead singles a lot of the time. You're trying to do it in maybe one of the B-sides, maybe one of the deep cut tracks, right? Maybe it's easier to go under the radar a bit if you haven't, if you've slipped it in track 12 of your 5th album. And this one is actually interesting because it comes in from an artist that this year I've made enemies with. It comes in from The Killers. Never had a rhyme crime before, and a controversial take I've had on the show in the last year or so is that The Killers have not had a good album since their second album, Sam's Town. I believe that is true. A few people disagreed. I think at one point I did say that I think their 4th album, Battle Born, might be a good album, but I'm not sure. But their newest album, don't even know the name of it. Probably should have done a bit more research, but, frankly, I knew it wasn't going to be good, so I didn't remember. Okay, it's called Pressure Machine, according to Google. Their newest album has a song called In the Car Outside. Now, first of all, that's a terrible song title. What are your favorite Killers songs? Oh, Human, Mr. Brightside, all these things that I've done, somebody told me in the car outside. Terrible song title. So you're already going in with like a skeptical kind of vibe. It's not a single, it's one of the deep cuts off this new album. What track number is it if people want to check it out on Spotify? It's track 7, right in the middle of the album. Very forgettable. And Tim sent it in. He said, hey, I've been listening to this song. I knew something was weird about it, but I couldn't figure out what it was. And then I realized, I think it's got a rhyme crime. And he's pinpointed this moment of the song. And again, send in your thoughts. Is this or is this not a rhyme crime? Here are the lyrics. Here's the part of the song. Have a listen.
It's like waiting for a train to pass. I don't know when it'll pass, but
Okay, so this is the end of a verse. You heard it there. It's like waiting for a train to pass. I'm saying it in my Australian accent. It's like waiting for a train to pass. I don't know when it will pass. All leading in. What comes after that is clearly the chorus. It's leading in, speeding up for the chorus.
it's like waiting for a train to pass. I don't know when it'll pass.
So, is this a rhyme crime? Because again, we can never seem to agree. It's always your guys' opinions that differ. Feels a little bit like repetition, but what's interesting to note, and I'll just get the lyrics up, in the car outside by the Killers, every other line in that stanza or in that verse, it goes, we got a place with a fence and a little grass. I put this film on the windows and it looks like chapel glass. But when she turns, it's like the shadow of the cross don't cast. No blessing over our lonely life. It's like waiting for a train to pass. I don't know when it'll pass. So it actually seems like everything in that verse there, grass, glass, cast, pass, is a rhyme. So what you guys need to decide as the jury here is, do you count pass and pass at the end as a rhyme crime? Is it part of a greater rhyming scheme? Is it repetition? I'd say not, because it's clearly trying to be a part of every other rhyme. Is this a rhyme crime? Do the Killers justice? I don't know if it is. You guys are going to need to tell me. That's all. Anyway. Excuse this interruption, teachers and students. No, but seriously, I have to take a quick break from the podcast to let you know all about our sponsor, manscaped.com. They are the best in men's below the waist grooming. And right now, if you head to manscaped.com, if you want any kind of shaving products, all that kind of thing, shavers, nose trimmers, they've got all of it. And you can currently get 20% off your next purchase and free shipping using the code RadioMike. That is code RadioMike at the checkout, 20% off at free shipping. Grab yourself the Lawnmower 4.0, an amazing razor, helps reduce the risk of ingrown hairs, helps you reduce the risk of cutting yourself while shaving. You don't want, I've said this before, guys, you don't want to accidentally nick your ball sack with a manual razor. You don't want to slice your ball sack open. You really don't want to do that. Use the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. Just gently get rid of the hair down there. Groom yourself. Be more attractive, right? If you're doing mouth stuff with a sexual partner, do you want a mouthful of hair or do you want a mouthful of not hair? That's all I'm going to say. Signs point to you want a mouthful of not hair. So use the Lawnmower 4.0. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Groom yourself downstairs, right? Shave off that ball hair. Shave off that penis hair. Whatever hair you've got. Girls too, you can use it downstairs. Okay? Radio Mike is the code. 20% off. They also have the Weed Whacker, a nose hair trimmer and ear trimmer if your nose gets a bit out of whack with the hairs. There's no shame. Clean it up. Just get rid of it. It's easy. I've used one. I've used it. I've used the Weed Whacker. I've used the lawnmower. I have shaved my balls. It is a very comfortable experience. There's also a ball toner and ball deodorant to make them feel really nice after, really smooth, make them smell nice. That's what you want from your balls. You don't want hairy, sweaty balls. Get rid of hairy, sweaty balls. Get yourself some stuff from manscaped.com. There's also the Tool Shed, which is a travel bag. A lot of people traveling interstate, overseas at the moment, right? Things are starting to open back up. Get yourself a travel bag. Put all your toiletries in there. Your lawnmower 4.0, your weed whacker, your ball toner, your ball deodorant. Pop it all in there. It's compact, right? There's so many great products. Jump onto manscaped.com. Use the code RadioMike for 20% off and free shipping. Do it. Shave your balls. Shave the sides of your penis where you didn't think hair should grow, but it does. We all know about it, guys. We all know about it. You know, every day, one of those hairs on my penis is a little bit higher. I'm like, what the hell? Okay, we might not all know about it. Anyway, Radio Mike, 20% off, free shipping, code Radio Mike, manscaped.com. Do it. Support the brands that support the show. That is really important because it helps keep the show running. Thank you so much for jumping on board, Manscaped. Buy a lawnmower 4.0. Back to the show. One important announcement. It's currently the 28th of November, which means that by the time this episode airs and you're hearing it, it'll actually be the 1st of December. Now, what that means is, unfortunately, the most wonderful time of the year, NoMas, which is November is not Christmas month, comes to an end. But at the point that you're listening to this podcast, it will be officially okay, just okay, to start thinking about Christmas. For me, it doesn't happen till the 15th of December. That's personal reasons. My birthday's on the 12th of December. My brother's birthday's on the 10th. I've got other stuff to think about than Christmas, right? The 15th is when I start thinking about Christmas. Also, just a side note, as a joint Christmas and birthday present, my brother and I are going to see Spider-Man No Way Home at the premiere. If anyone's going to the premiere in Melbourne, or like the midnight screening or whatever in Melbourne, let me know. Might see you there. But anyway, Christmas you will officially be allowed to think about Christmas. Start putting decorations up. Start playing carols. Start doing that stuff because the 1st of December, it's now Christmas season. Now you can do it. If you were doing it before December, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it at all. Because you were celebrating Christmas in November. 1st of December, Merry Christmas. As far as I'm concerned, Merry Christmas. Well, no, not as far as I'm concerned, but, you know, I am officially approving you to start thinking about it. Put your tree up. Put some tinsel up around. Start your Christmas shopping. Maybe don't do the shopping. Start thinking about what you might get people, though. You know, that's important. So I just wanted to give that PSA. Christmas has officially begun as of this podcast being out. Well done, guys. We made it through another NoMas. It's always very hard, but it is the most wonderful time of the year, aside from Christmas. We made it through NoMas, and I struggled. There were literally, on the main road near my house, these, like, soldiers, Christmas soldiers, tin, I don't even know what they are. What do they have to do with Christmas? But there's Christmas stuff everywhere. At least now it's appropriate. I'm glad that it's finally December, which means it's Christmas. But the main thing you should be thinking about, you know, it's December 1st today. What you should be thinking about if you're listening to this podcast more than that is, oh my God, in 11 days on the 12th of December, it's Radio Mike's 27th birthday. What am I going to get him? What am I going to send to his best postal address, which is 257 Clarendon Street, South Melbourne, 3205 Victoria? What kind of gift would he want? What am I gonna send? When am I gonna buy it and post it? That's the main thing you should be thinking about. What present you should get me 10 days or 11 days from now. Send it to that address. Just putting it out there. I think that's what you should be thinking about mainly. I need to talk about something really close to my heart. Well, not really, but I do need to think about this. I do need to talk about it because it's been on my mind a lot. It has come to my attention that Crazy Frog is coming back. We all know him. We all loved him in 2005. Well, how long's this grab? Bing, bing. Okay, cool. It's over. We all loved him in 2005. We all love Crazy Frog. If you don't remember Crazy Frog, maybe you're a bit young, but Crazy Frog was a sensation back in 2005. I remember it distinctly. I was in grade 5 and I was obsessed with Crazy Frog. Basically, little animated frog. That was his voice singing this song, you know. Funny noises. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, bloody Crazy Frog. How crazy is that? The main thing was that I think there was a few things about it that really made it land. It was like they were selling it as a ringtone. Back in the mid-2000s, companies used to advertise on TV and be like, oh, SMS this number and get this ringtone on your phone. And it was like back in the days where people didn't just have the default iPhone ringtone. One, because iPhones weren't a thing, but people just didn't use the default ringtone. You would have a song as your ringtone. Like your ringtone would define you. A very popular one was the Kim Possible beep. Like when you get a text, the people would have that as their SMS sound. Because like it would sound funny like at school if your phone went off and it was like beep beep beep, right? You could buy a ringtone from a TV commercial, and yeah, they used to sell heaps. You know, I think for a while, I still remember my ringtone on my Sony Ericsson phone in grade 5. It was called Barcelona. I didn't prepare this, but it sounded like a basketball kind of Space Jam kind of vibe. I'm just going to put it into YouTube. Barcelona ringtone. Nah, it's not on YouTube. Nah. Barcelona ringtone, Sony Ericsson F500i. This was what my phone used to sound like when it rang. Still remember it. Oh, that's it. Look, how cool is that? My phone used to ring. What was your ringtone? What was your ringtone when you were a kid? I'm keen to know that. But yeah, people used to have all kinds of songs. Like, I think for a while, like American Idiot was my ringtone. Stuff like that. You know, you could just make anything your ringtone. Now it's not really a thing. So Crazy Frog was one of those. It was early days of like CGI animation. So kids found it really cool. You know, it was cool that there was this Crazy Frog, this animated 3D Crazy Frog. And the other pull point of Crazy Frog was it had a penis. So Crazy Frog had a visible penis. Kids find that hilarious. Oh, bloody frog with a penis. What the hell? You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to show a penis on TV. So Crazy Frog had a penis. He would ride along on this invisible motorbike doing this ding stuff. Chased by I think he's chased by a robot security guard in the video. Just amazing on every level. I was obsessed. I made my mum go to Kmart and buy me like the Crazy Frog CD. Just a phenomenon. I'm pretty sure it went for like 5 years where they just do remixes of song and put Crazy Frog sounds in it. I'm pretty sure there was a Crazy Frog Nintendo DS game as well. So I'm just going to look that up. Crazy Frog Nintendo DS. Crazy Frog Racer on Nintendo DS came out on the 25th of November 2005. Only in Europe and Australia. Essentially just a cash grab. I imagine the game was pretty crap. Yeah. Crazy Frog Racer received generally unfavorable reviews with an aggregate review score of 28% by Game Rankings for the PlayStation 2 release. Oh, it's on PlayStation 2. Okay. I know we have a lot of goals on this show, but I have decided that one of the goals of this show is to play Crazy Frog Racer on my PlayStation 2. I'm going to find one. I'm going to find a copy and buy it. Okay. So from there, so Crazy Frog's coming back and they're going to try and make it, they're trying to get kids again. They're going to use TikTok and TikTok trends to get kids in. This is what I want to talk about though. One of the biggest misconceptions about Crazy Frog is that the song that Crazy Frog sings, it's very popular. Bing, bing. You've heard it. Ding, 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 ding. We'll just wait till we get up to the bit. You know the song. Easy. Fra breakdown. Bing, bing. A lot of people think that so the song, just so people know, the song is called Axel F by Crazy Frog. And people I think when I was growing up, a lot of people thought that the artist or the creator of Crazy Frog was called Axel F. And people thought It was before the days of like Spotify. It was like LimeWire, so you just download stuff. The metadata was all wrong on iTunes and shit. People thought that the song was called Crazy Frog. No, the song was called Crazy Frog by a guy called Axel F. I'm here to clear this up. The song is called Axel F, and it is the theme song to Beverly Hills Cop, an 80s TV show. This is the original song. And I think this is a point of confusion for a lot of people who just think that they think that Crazy Frog was an original song by a guy called Axel F, but it was really just a remix of Axel F. I don't know the origin of the name Axel F or why the song is called Axel F, but it's called Axel F, theme song to Beverly Hills Cop. As well as that, like you'll hear this all over the place. It's a very famous like 80s dance song. For example, it pops up in Family Guy as well, and I got confused as a kid because I was like, why is Peter Griffin singing the Crazy Frog song? But he's actually singing Axel F. Here's it. It's quite funny. So that's that. You've also heard it more recently in this like fad. I've mentioned this on the show before, but like this fad of pop musicians sampling old dance tracks in their songs. There was one that I'm pretty sure Dua Lipa had a song that sampled the melody from I'm Blue Dubba Dee Dubba Die, and Rita Ora has a song called Bang Bang, which also samples Axel F. So this is a common point of confusion that people don't seem to understand, that this song, the Crazy Frog song, is just a remix of Axel F. Just wanted to clear that up because people are stupid, and like it particularly happens on Hamish and Andy. Andy has a has a segment called Song Sleuth where people send in ripped off songs, and everyone sends in like, oh, Rita Ora copied the Crazy Frog song, but they don't realize that it's a sample or a remix of the original Axel F song. So anyway, just wanted to clear that up. I'm so excited that Crazy Frog was back. Everyone thought it was like super annoying, but I was obsessed with Crazy Frog. I just loved it. I wanted to know everything about the lore of Crazy Frog. Who is Crazy Frog? Why is he naked? Why does he ride an invisible motorbike? Where did he get the motorbike? Why is he on the run from robotic soldiers in an urban futuristic wonderworld? It's an amazing story. Maybe they expand on it in Crazy Frog Crazy Racer or whatever. We're going to have to buy it and find out. But yeah, very, very cool that they're bringing back such a look at all these. There's a Crazy Frog Jingle Bells, Crazy Frog We Are the Champions. Jesus Christ, it's absolutely crazy. Okay, anyway, moving forward. Also, how good's Barcelona, the ringtone? That's a classic. Okay, so I said I was going to talk about South Park before the episode was over, and I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so South Park is one of my favorite shows of all time. I just think the satire is amazing. Everyone always goes, oh, did you know they make it in 6 days? Yes, everyone knows that now. That's not a fun fact anymore. Everyone knows that that's how South Park works. They turn around the episodes in 1 week, so they're always extremely topical to what's going on in the current time. Because most cartoons take months to produce, but South Park is written, voiced, animated, and released within 6 days, which is crazy. South Park is a really interesting case study in media and animation and I guess content in general, because it started out as a show on Comedy Central, pretty typical show, and in the last 10 years or so in particular have been really politically relevant and satirically relevant to social issues and real world events that have been happening, and that's super cool. I love that part about it, and it's such a great show. It's a great time capsule of like what's happened or what's happening in society. And what I find really interesting about it is that Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park, also the creators of Team America, the Book of Mormon, and various other things, two incredibly talented writers and comedians and producers. They've signed a deal with Paramount Pictures to do like exclusive South Park specials for Paramount. And this isn't like a small time deal. It's a $900 million deal. $900 million deal between Trey Parker and Matt Stone and Viacom, who own Paramount. And I think it's really cool. Just making exclusive content for streaming. This show that started as a comedy animated crude sitcom on Comedy Central is now, and is now a streaming exclusive. So they're going to make it a new seasons of the show till the contracts till 2027. So another 5 years at least, another 5 seasons of the show. And as well as that, they've got to make 14 made for streaming movies. And I actually just think there hasn't been a new season of South Park in 2020 or 2021. And what I think is really interesting about that is that they've done just as well doing these like COVID South Park specials that are like an hour long. Instead of doing a full season, they've just done hour-long South Park special episodes, which I think is just amazing because it really shows how content is changing. Like the value of South Park, the brand, is no longer just having 10 episodes of South Park air on Comedy Centrals. Now it's like we, Viacom and Paramount Plus, want exclusive access to South Park, the brand, and we want 14 streaming exclusive movie length features and seasons of the show. And it just changes the relationship of what this content is worth. I've always thought that The Simpsons as a show, and sometimes I just watch episodes of The Simpsons from the current season. I think it's season 31. And I know people joke about this, but it is genuinely just some of the most soulless writing, soulless performances and soulless television I've ever seen. I can't get through the episodes. It actually depresses me. It's terrible. And the thing is, the reason they keep making The Simpsons is because the brand is worth so much money. Regardless of what the episodes are, the branding of The Simpsons, the characters, their designs, their faces on merchandise, is worth so much to so many people. It prints money. So just having the show running makes money. And I think The Simpsons now, I would prefer it if they didn't make new episodes, but they just did specials, kind of like how South Park does. Specials that integrate The Simpsons into pop culture and more relevant stuff, as opposed to just making these dumb episodes. Because The Simpsons will never die. They might go out, in 50 years, I doubt they'll be as big as they are now. And they're already not as big as they were 20 years ago. But look at franchises like The Muppets and the Peanuts. These are all really old franchises that still pop up from time to time, right? They're still recognizable characters. The Looney Tunes, they're still recognizable. They're still known by fans and consumers. People recognize these characters. They may not be big, but people know Bugs Bunny. They know Kermit the Frog. They know Charlie Brown and Snoopy. So they can use them to make movies. And I think the value of something like South Park having a $900 million deal just shows how amazing. I think you can't deny how amazing that show must be for a company to pay nearly $1 billion for exclusive rights to it. The most recent special was the South Park post-COVID special, which was amazing. I recommend you watch it. Super funny. And also, if you're a longtime fan of the show, heaps of fan service in it as well. And I'm just so excited for the future of that series. It's amazing. Wanted to do a little rant. Sometimes in this show, I like to do rants about pop culture and the future of media. So I hope you guys enjoy them because I love talking about them. One of the long-term goals on this show revolves around Sammy Garlep, comedian and friend of me and also friend of the show, of course. Sammy Garlep, he refused to get pasta with me one evening when I bumped into him in South Melbourne. I asked him to get pasta with me. Hey man, let's catch up. Let's grab dinner since we're both here. No, I don't want to. Okay, well I'm going to go. He was going to Coles and I was like, oh, I'll come walk around Coles with you and we can just chat. No, didn't want anything to do with it. So I held him to the fact that he had to get pasta with me. we've been putting it off all year. I want to lock in a date. I'm going to get Sammy on the line. I'm going to call him up, and finally lock down a date for me and Sammy Garlip to get our pasta and share it with you guys, the radio family.
Ring-a-ding-ding, you've got the king.
Sammy, it's Mike here. How are ya?
Mike. I think I was expecting Kelly. We chat from time to time.
He's in prison now. He's in prison now, isn't he?
Yeah, it's 30 minutes a day he gets, and he chooses to spend it calling me. And I just read out the movies that are showing at the local cinema.
And do you say stuff like, hey, look, you gotta get your shit together. No more of this stuff you've been doing, mate. Do you say that, or do you just keep it casual?
Look, I do, but it gets a bit awkward. So I just thought, look, let's just chat about, have you seen the new Disney, new James Bond movie and all that stuff? So he hasn't, because he's in prison.
I should just say you are on the podcast. You've delivered so far, so don't stress out. You've delivered.
I'm always talking about R. Kelly. Yeah. Okay, good. Don't cancel me. Okay.
So the reason I've called is because, look, we've got to get pasta, and you've been ducking me for months. I think it was like April that the pasta incident happened, and we haven't set a date. The podcast is coming to an end. For the year. The podcast is coming to an end for the year. We've got to have pasta. So I'm here today to make a date for our pasta date.
Oh, to make a date. Where's my diary?
Get your diary. I'm sure it's every day it's like nothing, jerk off, nothing.
I do carry a physical diary, but I don't know where it is, which is why I'm always late to these.
Right.
Yeah, look, no one was more thankful than me when we went into a statewide lockdown in our where we live, Mike, and I couldn't get pasta with you. I was avoiding it.
Do you not want to get pasta?
No, I do, but now, to be honest, it's actually, we're going into summer here where we live, and it's a bit hot for a hot pasta, but I guess we'll make it work.
But it's supposed to be a pretty rainy summer here in Australia because of La Nina. Did you know that?
Oh, are we in La Nina?
We're in La Nina.
I thought we were still in El Nino.
No, we're not in El Nino anymore. We're in La Nina.
Yeah. Also, that bloody global warming thing, am I right? That's all fake.
I'm going to put a date out for you. Okay? Do you have your diary?
I couldn't find it.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna put it out there. How about the evening of Monday the 6th of December?
I know I have something else. Just Monday is notoriously bad for me. No.
Tuesday the 7th. Tuesday the 7th then.
Tuesday the 7th is actually better.
All right, I'm officially locking it in. Tuesday the 7th of December, Mike and Sam Garlep are getting pasta at Eto Pasta in South Melbourne.
Oh, we have to go there?
Yeah, I think so, because that's where I wanted to get pasta with you.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, I can't wait to see you there, man. I'll send a calendar invite now.
What time do you think? We can chat.
We'll chat off it, but now we've got a date.
Okay. All right, it's happening then. Okay.
Thanks, Sammy. Don't invite R. Kelly. I don't want to see him.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry. He's on the other line now, so I better go.
All right. See you, mate. Thank you.
All right. See you, Pastor.
Bye. There you have it, guys. 7th of December. It's locked in. We are going to be getting pasta at Eto Pasta. This isn't a public thing. This is just for me and Sammy. It's going to be a really intimate night. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll play you the results and all our great conversation and pasta fun that we have on the podcast the next week, I guess. All right. We are just about outie for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening. Sorry, I've got hiccups and I'm just like hiccuping, but I'm trying to like not hiccup because I'm doing a podcast, and then you can hear me like holding the hiccup. Anyway, let's do this. The plug. All right, so what do I have to plug? So patreon.com/Radio Mike, support the show if you can. PayPal.me/It's Radio Mike if you want to do a one-off donation. $1 a month is $12 a year. That's 3 coffees a year. If you'd buy me 3 coffees a year, I'd love for you to donate $12 to the show. $12 really helps pay for essentially like basically it costs me $15 a month to host 20th Century Boy online. Same with Harry Potter and the Boys. And basically if $12 a month, you nearly pay for a month of the show, which is awesome. And that means a lot. radiomike.com.au/merch, there's stuff there. So Harry Potter and the Boys, I actually recorded the first episode of season 2 with Sammy Garlep. It is really fun. The first chapter is absolutely great. What I'm going to try and do is have something to put up on this week, which I guess will already be out by the time you hear this, and then start season 2, do a couple weeks of that before the summer holidays. But please go and binge listen to season 1 or binge watch it as well. Mike Talks, again, thank you to everyone for your feedback on the episode with Alex Moses. Someone did comment, Matt Doran, take notes, because I did a great interview of a musician. Matt Doran is the interviewer of Adele that I talked about on last week's episode, who fucked it up. And yeah, just check out all the Mike Talks. Again, best way to support the show, if not monetarily, is share the podcast with your friends. If you see one of my reels or TikTok, comment your friends in it. Share it with them in their DMs, link the podcast to a friend, link them to my YouTube channel, subscribe there, link it with friends, tell friends about the pod. Hey, I reckon you'll like this podcast. This guy's funny, if that's what you think. Or hey, I hate this podcast. Fuck this guy. Listen to it so we can talk. Listen to me if that's what you do. But yeah, sharing it with friends really, really does help. And I would really appreciate it if you'd be willing to do that. Again, like just tagging your friends in comments on my stuff and getting the word out there is a huge, huge help. So that is pretty much all there is to plug. Oh, the TikTok thing. I did say we're trying to get 10,000 TikTok followers by the end of the year. We are currently on 8966. And the top comment on the video I made, the TikTok I made of that clip last week, is something that I'm going to do. Currently, the top comment is, make Iggle Piggle your profile pic forever. I have no idea who Iggle Piggle is, but apparently it's the top comment, so that's gonna be my profile pic. Also on the list is adopt a kid and then sell him. Another person says adopt a child. Get Hamish Blake tattooed on one bicep and Andy on the other. These are all options. 100% complete every Lego game ever made. Order a cheeseburger from Macca's, but take away the patty plus the buns and add 500 cheese slices. Yell out the word bread in a shopping center. Fly me out to your studio and have me as a special guest on the podcast. Order a cheeseburger and stack up all the pickles and eat them. Dye your hair blue. Get a random Pokemon tattooed on your left calf. I totally would do that. Tell your boss you're pregnant and that you have to quit. When he says you can't be pregnant, call him sexist. Those are just a few of the things that you can vote on that I will have to do. But that's the end of the podcast. My name is Radio Mike. Don't block the MDF. I'm a very polite young man, and some of your older stuff can learn a lot from me. This podcast has been the inside of my mind, and all of the others. Catch you next week. Thank you for your ongoing support. I'm in love with you so much. Goodbye. This episode of 20th Century Boy was sponsored by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Head to manscaped.com and use the code RadioMike for 20% off your next purchase and free worldwide shipping. That's code RadioMike with no spaces for 20% off your next purchase at manscaped.com. Thanks for listening. Now go and shave your bloody balls. This podcast was a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to check out all our other content, stay up to date at radio.mike on Instagram, and get in touch, radiomikepod@gmail.com.